العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين والصلاة والسلام على خاتم الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. أما بعد فأوصيكم ونفسي بتقوى الله. صلوات. Dear brothers and sisters in Iman, first of all I advise myself for taqwa, parhezgari and piety, and then I advise all of you for the same. During the months of Muharram and Safar, we try to discuss the movement of Imam Hussain alayhi salatu wassalam. Whenever and wherever we get chance, whether these are the Thursday night lectures or the khutbas of Friday prayers or our majalis at centers and residences, wherever we find some chance and we get a chance, we try to look at the major happening in these months of Muharram and Safar, and that is of course the movement of our Imam and the shahadat of Imam alayhi salatu wassalam and the shahadat of his family and his companions. Recite a salawat. We are running little late and little behind because a couple of Fridays were missed due to my travels, and we need to kind of speed up and cover it at least as soon as possible before the month of Rabiul Awwal, and particularly those dates of Milad of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam. Enter, then we will change the subject, but before that, inshallah, we will try to conclude our discussions about Karbala. Last time when I spoke in this khutbah of Jumma, we had reached to the point that it was 2nd of Muharram and it was Thursday when Imam alayhi salatu wassalam had landed in Karbala. On Thursday, 2nd of Muharram, Imam alayhi salatu wassalam had landed in Karbala. At that time, when Imam landed in Karbala, then the soldiers of enemies were only about 1,000, and those were under the command of Hur bin Yazid al-Riyahi. So, on the side of Yazid or Ibn Ziyad or government, there is one commander and 1,000 soldiers. How many people were with Imam alayhi salatu wassalam when Imam landed in Karbala? There are two narrations. One, that Imam had only 72 people, of course among men. women and children are not included in this 72, but the number is 72. Then there is another narration which says that if these kids can come all on this side, help them to, please. Yeah. Recite a salawat. Yeah, and according to this other narration, the maximum number which is mentioned in riwayat is 145. 145 people, meaning were with Imam alayhi salatu wassalam. That is the maximum number. Again, it's not a change in Quran. It is not change in the verses of Quran that one should make a big deal out of it, that why everyone was saying 72 and you said 145. So it is written in our books. It's not something that which is making it up at his own. Everything is documented. It is part of narration. It is every time when history was written, any major book was written, this riwayat was written there. In this day and age when books are being translated into every living language and then things are being uploaded and things are coming now on social media, before someone surprises you from the other side, or your kids or your boys and girls when they are at college and university, and somebody brings one of your own books and reads something from there, and your son or daughter is first time hearing that, which had never heard from your own pulpit, it can create a serious issue or problem for that young boy or young girl that who is now doesn't know what to do. This is our book and this is what is written there. The only thing is a Sunni fellow is reading in front of him or in front of us. So it's better that we should be familiar with whatever is written there, whatever is there, and then we should tell our community and our boys and girls before they hear from outside, because they are going to come up with some spin about it. Now, whether it is 72 or even if it is 145, what difference does it make when the number of soldiers on the other side are 30,000 at the minimum? So, do you see any relevance in this, that the minimum number on the other side is 30,000? And if they are 30,000 at the minimum, and the number with Imam Hussain, for example, is 145, let's say 145. So what does it make the difference? So there is no ayat in Quran which says that they were 72. And even if you double it and make 145, what difference it makes? There is no relevance between 145 and 30,000. But this is a narration. It has been always there. So it's good to know about it. But most of the time we will talk about 72, and some ulama have mentioned, they have come up with an explanation. They said among those maybe 145, there were about 72 people that you can call them soldiers or warriors. Because among those 145, there were very elderly people. There were people that who were not professionally soldiers, or they were not able to actually go in battlefield and fight like a warrior or like a soldier. Or they didn't have any equipment. Or there were young kids like, for example, Qasim ibn Hassan or Ali Asghar. They are also counted in the number. So you cannot count them. So maybe from those 145, there were only about 72 people, or little less or little more, that whom you can call or refer to them as a warrior or as a soldier. Recite salawat. No, on 3rd of Muharram, because Ibn Ziyad is now in loop. Hur had written him letter that I have now surrounded Imam Hussein and I am leading him in this direction, and tell me now what to do. So Ibn Ziyad now talks to a man by the name of Umar bin Saad. Umar bin Saad, who was apparently given 4,000 soldiers to go to Qazvin and the area of Ray, which is today called Tehran. There were some rivalry, there were some people that who had become rebellious, and there was some kind of a fight going on, and Ibn Ziyad had asked Umar Saad to go with these 4,000 people and deal with that. So this army under the leadership of Umar Saad had gone out of the city of Kufa, but it was not gone away from Kufa. Just outside of Kufa they were still stationed, getting ready to move. And here Ibn Ziyad receives the news that Imam Hussein ﷺ have come in the area, and now Hur has kind of brought him in this land of Karbala, and now he is landed in Karbala. So Ibn Ziyad calls Umar Saad and asks him that before going to Qazvin and Tehran and Ray, I have something else for you. First you need to deal with this one. When you are done with this one, then go to Tehran and Ray and in that area of Ray and Qazvin. According to whatever we read in the narrations, Umar Saad tried to come up with some apologies or with some explanations or some excuses, and he said, I am mentally now focused and set and prepared to just go and deal with that bigger problem in Qazvin and in Ray area. So let me just go there. I have motivated my army and I have made plans. I am just about to leave. So let me go there, find someone else for this movement, this issue of Imam Hussein. Ibn Ziyad was very cunning individual, and he had some kind of a rivalry also with this Umar Saad. So he knew that Umar Saad is just trying to avoid this thing. He is very much for that job of Ray, but he is not very much cooperative with us when it comes to fight against Imam Hussein. So he says, no, I'm not asking your advice on this, or I'm not consulting you, I'm actually commending you. And I'm telling you that if you need the governorship of Tehran and Ray and in that area of Qazvin, and if you need to keep that job, you need to first go to Karbala and deal with this issue which is at hand. When you are done with it, then you can go to Ray and Tehran and Qazvin. So Umar Saad was not courageous enough or not pious enough that he could say that for that one, yes, I was ready and I would go, but if you are asking me for this one, hell with this governorship of Tehran or Ray, and I am not interested in it, so I don't want to go there. The man, of course, had the greed for the power, for the position, for the materialistic world. Many people in that age, in that time, they had gotten the taste of power, the land, the materialism. They were all playing with gold and silver. They were very much materialistic individuals. So Umar Saad finally decides to now go to Karbala. So it was 3rd of Muharram that Umar Saad with his 4,000 people comes in Karbala and takes over this commandership now from Hur. So now the commander, now who becomes the commander is Umar Saad. And the army of Yazid has reached to the number now 4,000 new ones, 1,000 from before, the 5,000. After reaching in Karbala, Umar Saad, he actually delivers a letter of Ibn Ziyad to Imam Hussain alayhi salatu wassalam. It was a very brief letter, like 2-line letter, that I have received the news that you have come in this area and now you have landed in Karbala. So when you receive this letter, go ahead and pledge the allegiance to Amir Yazid and ask your all companions and everyone with you to pledge the allegiance to Yazid. And otherwise, if you don't do that, then I will kill you. You have then no right to live. Only 2 lines, very rude and very rough, and just asking him to surrender and do the allegiance to Yazid. Otherwise, you will not have right to live. Imam alayhi salatu wasalam read that letter, and they say that Imam, after reading this letter, had thrown it just on the ground. A soldier asked, maybe this was his duty to bring the answer. So he said, "Sir, if you would give me the answer of this letter, so I want to take it to Governor Ibn Ziyad." Imam said, he doesn't deserve any answer of this letter. The adab of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take him. He has earned the wrath and adab of Allah, and this letter doesn't need any answer. So, after that, what we know, I will just tell you very briefly, that from this 3rd of Muharram up till almost the 7th or 8th of Muharram, Umar Saad many times at night tried to communicate with Imam alayhi salatu wassalam. Both of them, they sat down on number of occasions during the night to kind of negotiate or to talk to one another and see if they can find any way out. Imam alayhi salatu wasalam tried to convince him to abandon this bay'at of Yazid and Ibn Ziyad and those people and join Imam alayhi salatu wasalam, because Imam's cause was noble one and the right one and the good one. While Umar Saad would every time try to negotiate with Imam and ask him that don't put yourself in danger, and I have these commands and the government is not going to listen or not agree to anything less than bay'at and allegiance and make bay'at. The discussion normally would take place at night in the middle of 2 armies. Few soldiers would remain close by, but mainly these 2 individuals will sit and talk. In some riwayat we see that while it was not only Imam Hussain, it was Imam Hussain, but then 2 individuals, Abul Fazl al-Abbas and Ali Akbar, would stay just next to Imam, and the son of Umar Saad and a slave of Umar Saad would also stay with Umar Saad. So 3 people from that side, 3 people from this side, but mainly 2 individuals talking with one another. It kept happening. On the other hand, Ibn Ziyad would go to Masjid Jami of Kufa, and he would summon people and he would address people and he would talk and give khutbah and give speeches, and he would ask people to come and join the armies of Yazid and go to Karbala and participate in this fight. Of course, he would give it a color, a different spin. He would say that our government is legitimate government and there is a bagawat or there is a rebellious, and so you need to go and fight against this rebellious group. And then he would give them, he would offer them the rewards and awards and so much promises that you will get this, you will get that. According to one narration, he increased their monthly stipend from Baitul Mal up 100 dinar was added to whatever they were receiving from before. And he said, if you come, if you participate in this, if you go to Karbala, if you help us, we will give you much more and we will be giving you all this. Now, keep in mind, we are in 61st year of Hijrah. Many people in new generation in Kufa, they don't know who is Imam Hussain. People that's in their like teens, for example, let's say 16 years, 17 years, 18 years, 19 years, 20 years, 21st, the early 20s, mid 20s, even late 20s. These are the people that who are normally very eager to go and join the army and fight and do all those kind of things. They don't have any idea that who is Imam Hussain and what are his merits, and they know whatever they know, very little about it. So Ibn Ziyad is talking very much against Imam alayhi salatu wasalam, as normally governments do their propaganda against those who are, even if they have the right cause, but meaning they are always painted as enemies of peace and enemies of order and enemies of this and enemies of that. Government has normally its own vocabulary, its own language of propaganda, its own tone. And Ibn Ziyad was a fiery speaker. His father was actually very famous speaker, very eloquent, very powerful speaker, and he is in government, he has full command, force. So every day he stands up in masjid and gives the speech, and this propaganda is going on in the streets of Kufa, recruiting people, encouraging people, and then threatening also that if you will not join, then you will be forced, and then no one will be living and staying in Kufa, and either you have to go to Karbala or you will be in jails. So in that kind of environment, he kept recruiting new soldiers, and he kept sending these new soldiers to Karbala. A commander would go with 4,000, a commander would go with 3,000, a commander would go with 2,000, a commander would go with 1,000, and our narrations tell us that finally this number reached to 30,000 soldiers at the minimum. Now, sometimes people question that how come that many soldiers from one city of Kufa? Kufa was basically built as an army city, army base. Kufa and Basra were established or built or what you call erected or brought into creation in the time of Umar bin Khattab as two army bases. And so many people were brought here, and they were given land, and they were given facilities, and they were made to live here. It was a large city, had so many people living in, and then people were living around the Kufa also. And it's also possible that maybe some people have been brought from Basra or from the places between Kufa and Basra, but 30,000 soldiers coming from that area is not something impossible or not something which we think that it was too difficult. Recite a salawat. So new army, new and new soldiers are coming, and those nightly talks are also going on. Finally, a man by the name of Huli bin Yazid. Huli bin Yazid, he writes a letter to Ibn Ziyad. He says, you have sent us here to get the job done. Ask Hussain to make bay'at, otherwise just cut his throat. But this man Umar-e-Saad seems that he is not ready for that job. Every night He sits with Hussein until midnight or even beyond midnight, and they enjoy just talking with one another, and man is not doing anything. So either ask him to do the job or ask him to just quit from this position and give this job to me, and I will get this job done just within a day. So letter came to Ibn Ziyad. When Ibn Ziyad received that letter and he found out that every night Umar bin Saad and Hussein ibn Ali, they sit down and they talk, and then they have long lengthy conversations every night, and Umar Saad, while he has so much army and so many soldiers, but he is not getting the job done. So Ibn Ziyad asks Shimr to now take about 4,000 new soldiers and go to Karbala and give this letter to Umar Saad. Letter was saying that I had sent you with a very specific requirement, a job which was well spelled for you, explained for you to go, ask him to do bayat, otherwise just kill him. So many days have gone by, and I heard that you are just sitting and talking and enjoying conversations. I have not sent you to go and have all these conversations with him. So, as you receive this letter, right away, you move on and go and ask him to surrender and make bayat. If he does that, well and fine, let us know. If he doesn't do that, then right away you have to go ahead and attack on him. Shimr, who is bringing this letter, will be watching all this, and if you cannot do this, then resign from this position and give the command to Shimr. With this letter, Shimr came. It was 9th of Muharram, and Shimr came and he gave this letter to Umar Saad. Before we talk about this, I forgot one thing in between to mention, and that was that on 7th of Muharram, under the new directives of Ibn Ziyad, Umar bin Saad and his army had put ban on the water. That from now on, no water will go to the tents of Imam Hussein. Let him face the thirst, let his ladies and children face the thirst, and they would always bring this one sentence in between, as Usman ibn Affan was kept thirsty before his death, so we will keep Hussein ibn Ali thirsty here also, unless if he makes the bayat. So the water ban was put on the 7th of Muharram. Now, when this letter came on the 9th of Muharram, and Umar Saad read the letter, he looked at Shimr, and they say he yelled at him, and he said, I know this must be you to instigate Ibn Ziyad for this, and you have made a big problem now for me, for you, or for anybody. So this is not something good. But he said, Shimr said, don't just talk to me anything else. Just let me know you will do the job or you will leave, and I will take the command. These soldiers and these bureaucrats and these people that who are part of power, as they have greed for the position and they have the greed for these things, they have arrogance also. Because now when he gives his position to Shimr, so it is that as if he is compromising on his dignity, his honor, his bravery, his status, that he was given a job, he couldn't do it. And now he is handing over to Shimr, and so he felt that maybe this is something against his honor. Also, he would lose that position which he was very much looking for, the governor of Ray, Qazvin, Tehran, that area. So Umar Saad told him that no, I will do the job. Then it was a time of Asr on 9th of Muharram. The narration says that Imam Hussain alayhi salatu wasalam was sitting in front of his tent. The tent of ladies and children, the tent of Ahlul Bayt. Imam had come out from the tent. He was sitting on the sand in a way that he was sitting on ground, and he had put his face on his knees. You know, sometimes when we sit and our knees are kind of high. So he put his forehead on his knees, and as maybe for a few seconds, he just got dosed and he was kind of in a little bit sleep. Ladies in the tent, they heard the noise of horses, the noise of the soldiers. So at that time, they say Sayyida Zainab Salamullah Alaiha, she came out from the tent, put her hand on the shoulder of Imam Alayhi Salatu Wassalam and asked him, my brother, don't you see that these enemies and their soldiers and their horses are marching toward our tent? Imam Alayhi Salatu Wassalam woke up and he looked at and he said, yeah, I see, but why they are coming at this time? In that time, in that culture, this was not the time for war, this was not the time for fight in afternoon. Normally fights and wars would take place in the mornings. Nobody would go and start a war at the time of Asr or after Asr. Asr was end of the day. Even war would stop at that time. And then they would start the war next day. This was how the culture of war was. So Imam alayhi salatu wasalam asked Hazrat Abbas Alamdar to go forward with a few people and ask why they are marching toward our tent at this time. So Abul Fazl al-Abbas with a few companions goes forward, stops them there, asks them, why are you coming at this time toward our tents? Umar Saad showed that letter. He said, I just received this command of Ibn Ziyad, and this Shemr has brought this letter, and he is asking us that immediately go forward, ask the bay'at from Hussein. If he does the bay'at, well and fine. Otherwise, right now, go ahead and kill him. Abul Fazl al-Abbas says, then you stand here, just stop here. Let me go and talk to my master. Let me go and talk to my Mawla and convey him this new situation. Abul Fazl al-Abbas comes and informs Imam alayhi salatu wasalam about this new development. Imam alayhi salatu wasalam at that point asks Abul Fazl al-Abbas that, Abul Fazl al-Abbas, I will really appreciate if you can go and negotiate with them that they should not start this at this time, wait for one more night, and tomorrow, whatever they want, so it can happen tomorrow, but not now, not tonight. It was very difficult for a man like Abul Fazl al-Abbas to go and ask for this kind of thing. But being a strong man, a warrior, a soldier, a brave man, at the same time he was very disciplined and very obedient soldier and officer and brother of Hussein. Normally our youth, our young people, our emotional members of our families, our communities, in such scenarios, so you leave the enemy, you cannot even control your own people. Your own people create so much fuss and scene and emotions that you forget how to deal with the enemy. But the beauty of Karbala, my brothers and sisters, is that there are so many lessons to learn. That yes, you have emotions. Yes, you are sad and mad, and you don't like this. But your senior, your commander, your leader is asking you something, you need to just go and do what you are asked to do. Abul Fazl al-Abbas goes, negotiates with them. Umar Asad, as we are so far dealing every day, every opportunity, he knows who is Hussein. He knows that if he will get into it, so what is the punishment at the day of judgment? So it's not that Umar Asad doesn't know or he doesn't care. The problem is he is a greedy man. He is a man who is not ready to say goodbye to these worldly and materialistic incentives. So he says, that's fine. So you got it. Think this night, this is your final chance, and tomorrow then we will come and ask you. If you do the bayat, then that's fine. If you will not do the bayat, then we will have a war tomorrow. So this deal was negotiated between the Asr of 9th of Muharram and before the Maghrib. Before Maghrib, this issue was decided. Then the army of Yazid went back, and Imam alayhi salatu wasalam, and now his camp has to deal with this new situation, which inshallah we will talk next time. Next Friday we will get into that discussion. Recite salawat. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحليم الكريم غافر الذنب وقابل التوب وهو الغفور الرحيم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل وسلم على سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى أمير المؤمنين وإمام المتقين علي بن أبي طالب وعلى سيدة نساء العالمين فاطمة الزهراء وعلى الحسن والحسين سيدي شباب أهل الجنة وعلى علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي. اللهم صل على مولانا صاحب العصر والزمان وعلى آبائه الكرام اتصل الليالي والأيام. أما بعد فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله، أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله، أشهد أن محمد رسول الله.